So today, we're going to unlock a communication system that can fundamentally change your relationships, taking them from, totally disconnected to truly collaborative. All right, let's jump right in.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You're in what feels like a simple conversation, maybe with a colleague, your partner, a friend, and then, boom, it just goes completely off the rails. You walk away feeling frustrated, totally unheard, and honestly, way more disconnected than when you started. It happens to all of us, but why? Why does it happen so often?
Well, here's the thing. It's almost never about who has the better facts or who wins the argument. The real culprit, the thing that's behind almost every single communication breakdown, is just a simple misunderstanding. The very moment we stop understanding where the other person is coming from, that connection is severed. That's the problem we're here to solve.
But before we even get into any techniques, we have to talk about the absolute bedrock of all of this, your credibility. Seriously, think of it like the currency of communication. It's what gives your words any real weight, any value. And it's built slowly, over time, by making sure your words and your actions always line up. Without that, honestly, even the most perfect techniques are pretty much guaranteed to fail.
Okay, so with credibility as our foundation, let's get into the one core principle that this entire system is built on. And I'll give you a heads up, this is a genuine game changer and it probably goes against every instinct you have. Here it is. Understand first, speak second. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But this is a radical shift from how most of us operate. We are absolutely wired to speak in order to be understood. Our main goal is getting our point across. This system, it flips that completely on its head. Your new primary mission in any conversation is to deeply, truly understand the other person before you even think about what you're going to say next. This is the single most important shift you can possibly make.
And this really breaks down what listening actually means. On one hand, you have listening to reply. And let's be honest, that's our default mode. We're just waiting for a pause, right? Waiting for our turn to jump in. We're already forming our counter-arguments in our head while they're still talking. It's all about us. But then there's the goal, listening to understand. This is a complete focus on them. What are they feeling? What do they need? It's about their world, not yours.
And this brings us to the critical ratio for making that happen. Real, effective communication, it's not a 50-50 split of talking and listening. Not even close. We're talking 80% dedicated to that deep, empathetic listening and only 20% to speaking. I know, that might sound totally radical, but I promise you, when you commit to this ratio, it will revolutionize every single conversation you have. All right, so we have our foundation of credibility. We have our golden rule, understand first. Now let's build on that with a practical, super powerful 5-step process that you can literally start using today.
So here's the roadmap. First, step 1, you gotta grasp your purpose. Then, step 2, build the bridge. Next, and this is a big one, step 3, find the anchor. From there, we go to step 4, co-create solutions. And we finish with step 5, empower them to decide. Okay, let's break each one down. Step 1 is all about your intention, and it happens before you even open your mouth. It's this quiet moment where you just ask yourself, what am I really trying to do here? Is my goal to connect, or am I just trying to disconnect? Do I actually want to win this, or do I want to collaborate? And is it more important for me to be right, or to do what's best for our relationship? Your answer to that sets the tone for everything else.
Okay, with that clear intention, now it's time to build a bridge, an emotional connection. And look, this isn't about agreeing with them. It's about acknowledging them. It's the difference between saying, you did this and made me angry, and saying, I feel frustrated when this happens. See the difference? The goal here is simple but so powerful. Just make the other person feel genuinely heard and validated, not judged.
Now, step 3 is where we find the anchor. This is the pivot point. This is what turns a conversation from me versus you into us versus the problem. And trust me, there is always a shared goal, even if you have to dig a little to find it. Just stating something as simple as, look, we both want this project to succeed, or we both want what's best for our team, completely reframes the entire dynamic.
So now that you're on the same team, it's time for co-creation. And this isn't about pushing your solution on them. It's about pulling their solution out of them. So instead of telling them the plan, you invite them to collaborate with a simple, open-ended question like, okay, so given our goal, how do you think we can get there? That one little question invites them to become a partner, and it gives them instant ownership over the solution. And the final step, you empower them.
Now, this might feel a little counterintuitive, but giving them the final say is what really seals their commitment. After you've explored the options together, you can say something like, based on our talk, I really trust your judgment on the best way to move forward. A simple statement like that can turn what could have been a fight into a total collaborative win.
So this all sounds great in theory, right? But what about the real world? What happens when you're up against someone with a really big ego, someone who just does not want to collaborate? Let's put this whole system through a proper stress test.
In these really high-stakes situations, you've got to be willing to check your own ego at the door. The strategic goal here is to make them feel like they've won, so that you both can actually achieve the real important goal. It's a subtle but really powerful shift from confrontation to redirection.
And here's the tool to do it, the 4-step redirection formula. This is your secret weapon. First, you acknowledge their point, even if you totally disagree. That immediately de-escalates things. Second, you instantly pivot back to that shared anchor you both agree on. Third, you put the ball in their court and ask for their solution to achieve that shared goal. And finally, you empower their decision. You're skillfully guiding them to the right conclusion, all while making them feel like they got there all by themselves.
Okay, so we've got the system, we have the mindset, and now we have a strategy for even the toughest conversations. But how do you actually get good at this? How do you really master it? Let's take a look.
True mastery really comes down to internalizing these 3 pillars. First, it's the mindset. You've got to approach every interaction with a genuine desire for a win-win. Second, it's the skills, becoming a master at that 80% empathetic listening, asking brilliant open-ended questions, and keeping your own emotions in check. And third, it's the process, just consistently practicing that 5-step formula until it becomes totally second nature.
So, here's your takeaway. Your mission for this week, should you choose to accept it. It's incredibly simple. Pick one conversation, just one. And for the first 2 minutes, your only job is to listen. No planning your comeback, no interrupting, just listen to understand. What do you think you'll discover? Because ultimately, this whole system is really a blend of science and art. The formula we've walked through, that's the map. But your own genuine empathy, that's the compass. And at the end of the day, that's what will truly guide you toward a deeper, more meaningful connection.